This is a video about sharpening a chainsaw and making it cut straight. Here's several things you need to know about taking care of your chainsaw. One thing is you don't need a lot of tools. All those tools they want to sell you, you really don't need. Like an awful lot of things in life, they'll sell you more than you need. What you really need, the main tool you need, is a chainsaw file. Now this is a chainsaw file. It is not a round file. It is not a rat tail file. It is a very specific file, and it is a very specific size for this chain. If you don't know what file your chain takes, ask somebody. Get the right one, because it has to fit right into the groove in the tooth to do a good job. The other tool you need is a flat chainsaw file to file these things called rakers, which are in between each tooth and basically regulate the depth of the cut. I don't ever use this for chainsaws. I use a grinder. It's a lot faster. You can just go zip, 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 zip right down the row and get it done. Now, the only other two tools, your saw will have come with a bar wrench, which undoes these nuts here, and it'll have a combination, a box end, and it'll have a screwdriver on it. I lost mine, so I just use a wrench and a screwdriver. Now, several things about filing and a saw, and there's several things about keeping a saw sharp. First of all, light strokes are better. Lots of light strokes are better than, really romping into it. Secondly, file your saw every time you fill the gas tank. Even if you just go over and give it 2 strokes on this side, and then turn it around, give it 2 strokes on the other side, and each tooth gets 2 strokes that way. That way it's always cutting straight. If you are new at this, get a brand new chain. If your chain is worn out, if it's an old saw, go buy a brand new chain. They're not very much money. If you have a brand new saw, then it will have a brand new chain on it. And what you do is you just try to match the angle of the tooth that's brand new, so it will stay brand new. So you're always going in the right direction. The only other thing I can tell you about this machine or any other machine is read the manual. There's lots of stuff in the manual that they'll tell you about how to take good care of your saw or your car or anything else. Read the manual, please. The saw started cutting crooked in this piece of wood. As we saw a minute ago, trying to cut that piece of wood with the saw, it was tracking crooked, so you end up with a crooked cut. To get rid of that problem, you need to examine the saw and make a few corrections, and I'm going to show you what those are. There's 2 big ones. The first is the bar. The bar is this part here, and it gets worn. And the second is the teeth, and if they're cut at different lengths or different degrees of sharpness, the saw will cut crooked. So let's start with looking at the chain as it fits in the bar. First thing you want to do is make sure that the chain is tight, and the way you do that is you pull down on it and see if it'll snap back. If it snaps back, it's just about right. It'll still move, but it's nice and snug. After you do that, I want you to just take your chain like that and wiggle it. Now you see how much that wiggles? That's because the bottom of this bar has worn. The way to avoid that and the way to correct that is just to take the bar off, flip it over, put the chain back on, and it's going to be good, because if you look up here, there's no wiggle. This is going to be on the bottom. There's no wiggle here. The next thing is the way you file the chain. There's 2 sets of teeth. There's one that faces this way and one that faces this way. When you're filing the chain, you have to file first from one side and then flip the saw around and file from the other side. Now for right-handed people like me, it's a lot easier to file these teeth over here, because you're pushing the file through from a position that's comfortable to you as a right-hander. But when you flip it around, it's more difficult. What happens is the teeth that get filed on this side usually get cut a little shorter because you've got better control, you got better strength. They're shorter, these over here are longer. I just want to demonstrate that to you. This is a tool, it's a caliper. These teeth here are the ones you file from this side. So if you're right-handed, these are the easy ones to do. And they've gotten a little bit long compared to the other ones. So these are the ones you file from the other side. See, caliper doesn't move on that one because it's nice and snug. But on this one, it's loose. And on this one, it's loose. And on this one, it's snug. So you can tell this saw has been filed by somebody who's right-handed, that's me. And I cut these teeth too short. So now the ones on the other side have to be cut down to the same size so that it won't pull. What we're going to do is we're going to flip the bar over and then we're going to refile so that all of these teeth are more or less the same length. So to take the bar off, the first thing we do is we loosen the big nuts here, which I already loosened them. These are finger tight now, but loosen them up. And then you take your screwdriver and you loosen up the chain. This is the chain tensioner in here. You loosen that up so that we can get the bar off. And then take the nuts off. Take the cover off, and then you move the thing back, move the bar back like that a little bit, and you take the chain off. The easiest thing to do then is just flip it over like that. Then you put the chain back on the sprocket here. Put the chain back on the sprocket, and then we're going to put the bar back on here and put the nuts back on, put the cover and the nuts back on. So, before you tighten it up, there's a little mechanism here that's connected to this screw that we loosened up a minute ago that causes the thing to go back and forth. So, you know, if you can just give that a wiggle, see if you've actually engaged it here. Looks like we have. Now, once you're fairly confident that this bar is back in contact with the mechanism, and put the cover back on. Like that. Put the nuts back on. We'll snug this up in a minute. Okay, now it's in there, but we don't want to tighten it up until there. That was the thing getting into place. Now just look at the chain down here. As I turn this thing, I want these guys so they can slip, but not slip too much. Okay, and turn this in. You see the chain go up? Mm-hmm. Okay, get it just so it's just up there. We'll fine tune it in a minute. And then you want to tighten your nuts up like this. Most saws come with a tool to do this, but I lost it naturally. So I just used this as a, what is that, a 19 millimeter? 19 millimeter end wrench. Okay, you just get it barely tight. Now, we want this chain so that it's snug. That's a little loose. So let's just try tightening up just a bit here. Just a little too tight here. See, that's still too loose. It doesn't snap back in there. Well, we're just about to fix that. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot better. I think that's pretty good. You can always readjust it. Now when you get to the end, this is where knowing how much the torque is really good. Generally speaking, the amount of torque you apply depends on the length of the wrench. A long wrench like this will take more torque than a short wrench. So, and it's not about the wrench, it's about the threads here. But when you have a big nut, you have threads that can be tightened a little tighter. So, put that thing on there and give it a good push until it's snug. Push that one. That feels pretty good. Okay, now let's see how this looks. Hear that? That's about right. Okay, so now we're ready to sharpen. Now, as we know, we have one set of teeth that's too long and another set that's too short. We want them about the same. So now we're going to file the teeth on the other side of the bar. And as you recall, they're a bit longer. And what we need to do is cut them down so they're a bit shorter. Because the reason we were having a crooked cut is because these teeth on this side are too long. So we're going to we gave the ones on the other side 1 stroke. We're going to give these 5 just to get it straightened out a bit. So let's do that. And keep in mind your reference mark there. 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now let's go out and cut some firewood.
There you go, that's how you cut firewood.
If you enjoyed this video, and if you're a do-it-yourselfer or somebody who would like to learn about tools and how to fix things, I've written a book. It's called The Art of Fixing Things. You can buy it on Amazon. It's about 12 bucks. It's got over 150 tips and tricks for using tools, making things, fixing things. And there is a little section in here on chainsaws, how to file a chainsaw. And believe me, if you're going to have wood heat, or if you're going to own a chainsaw, you're going to need to know about this. So there you go. The Art of Fixing Things. You can get it on Amazon for about 12 bucks. Thanks.